Hola hermanos, ¿cómo están? Bendecido día en Cristo y María. Estamos muy cerca de la Navidad, muy cerca al nuevo año, al 2025, y muchas cosas han estado sucediendo en estas semanas. Me alegra saber que muchas personas están abriendo los ojos para estar siempre atentos a cualquier engaño que la élite quiera realizar contra nosotros, contra los cristianos del mundo, contra la población en general, porque el engaño va dirigido hacia todos para la implementación de un nuevo orden mundial. Bueno, hace unas semanas se empezaron a ver drones. Muchas personas los ligaban a apariciones extraterrestres. De hecho, el gobierno de los Estados Unidos dijo que pues ellos no tenían idea de dónde venían estos drones, pero nosotros sabemos que esto es un show, por lo cual ellos quieren probablemente llegar al gran engaño de una falsa invasión alienígena. De hecho, acá en el canal ya se los había compartido desde hace 2 años una profecía donde hablaba de una falsa invasión. El gobierno mundial, la élite, está preparando una falsa invasión alienígena. Usarán su proyecto Blue Beam, ¿no? Los hologramas, su alta tecnología para poder engañar al mundo. También pues ellos van a imitar la falsa parucía, la segunda venida de Cristo. Obviamente esto no se tiene que dar en estos momentos, es una de las señales en las que nosotros nos vamos a dar cuenta de que ahorita no viene Cristo. Probablemente lo proyecten en el cielo, lo quieran ligar en el momento de la iluminación de las conciencias, el gran aviso, pero si alguien llega a ver a Cristo en esos momentos será de forma espiritual, no será algo en el cielo para todos. Intentarán hacer falsos 3 días de oscuridad. Esto lo intentarán hacer también, pero la diferencia es que serán 3 días de oscuridad físicos, a diferencia de lo que vendrá al final, ¿no? Al final de toda la tribulación. Pero ellos siempre buscarán imitar a Cristo y quieren crear todo este caos. Muy probablemente es el próximo año. Si viene la guerra, viene junto con las nuevas pandemias que ellos obviamente están planeando. Vendrá junto con esa falsa invasión, etcétera, etcétera. Quiero que sepan que también se está diciendo que los drones están fumigando a las personas porque saben que se acercan nuevos virus y la próxima pandemia será mucho más fuerte que la del COVID-19. Entonces luego sale Donald Trump diciendo que el gobierno sabe lo que está pasando y que digan la verdad, pero es que empezando por él, que diga la verdad. Hermanos, no crean que Donald Trump no sabe lo que está pasando, lo que están haciendo, el show que ellos quieren hacer. Así que hay que estar muy atentos porque este tipo de gente, como Donald Trump, son parte de la disidencia controlada. Esto quiere decir que Donald Trump es del bando de los buenos, entre comillas, pero en realidad es falso. Así que estén muy atentos porque si Donald Trump, como ya les había comentado antes, fingió un falso atentado, ¿no? Si él fue partícipe de una falsa bandera, ellos ya están planeando muy probablemente un nuevo atentado. Pero si en este atentado falso que podría haber fallece Donald Trump, eso también será falsa bandera. Así que hay que estar muy atentos. Donald Trump no es cristiano y él mismo lo ha dicho. Quiero que lo escuchen.
Christians get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You gotta get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not gonna have to vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not gonna have to vote. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian.
Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago, according to White House official. There it is. That's his blog. He said, President Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago and joined Chabad Lubavitch synagogue in New York City, according to a high-level White House official. Mr. Goldberg says the story has allegedly been held by CNN's editors for months, but is due to be released within the next few days. David Elias Goldberg, a fellow at the Jewish Center of Anti-Semitic Study, has also interviewed the White House source. According to the source, Trump was pushed by his daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner to join the faith. At first, Trump resisted, stating it would threaten his base of evangelical Christian voters. However, he had a change of heart and officially converted in early 2017. The ceremony was held in private and closely guarded for nearly 2 years. It appears the White House is prepared to slowly release this information, and by summer, it is expected Trump will fully address his new faith in an evening televised news conference. He is clearly the most pro-Israel president in the history of America. He's given Israel every single thing that they wanted, and he's about to give them war with Iran. And so, has he converted? So, I want to show you one more article. This is, let me see if I can.
It's the Times of Israel.
Yeah, the Times of Israel. This was published March 22nd, 2019. This is the Times of Israel. Trump, the first Jewish president of the United States.
Now, that's not us saying that. That's Times of Israel. Times of what nation? Israel.
So the people in Israel, that's an English-speaking newspaper in Israel, and that's what they read, that Donald Trump is the first Jewish president of the United States.
And how did they qualify that, Rick?
They gave a list of things that he did for Israel.
First of one, of course, moving the embassy to Jerusalem.
That's right.
That was a big deal.
Then recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. He's the first sitting U.S. president to visit the Western Wall. They gave him credit for defeating ISIS. They gave him credit for rebuking the United Nations when the UN criticized Israel. They credit him with closing the Palestinian office in Washington, D.C. And they said these things, what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these 6 things qualify Donald Trump to be named the first Jewish president of the United States.
And that's what the Times of Israel said.
Yeah, that was not David Duke's newsletter.
Right.
It's a Jewish-owned newspaper. And they're proclaiming Donald Trump to be the first Jewish president of the United States. So now when you look at this David Elias Goldberg saying that a White House insider told him that President Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago.
Suddenly it doesn't sound so crazy, does it?
Now it's not too crazy. And that CNN knows about it, and CNN is sitting on the story and will be releasing it at some point.
Él es masón, él es cabalista, él tal parece que él se convirtió hace unos años al judaísmo. Él ha tenido una profesora de cábala y es parte de la disidencia controlada, es parte del engaño. No tengan miedo, yo creo que hay que tener mucha fe y mucha confianza en nuestro Señor Jesucristo, que nos va a poder hacer notar la diferencia entre la verdad y la mentira, lo que ellos están planeando. Hay que estar muy atentos, hermanos. Creo que las personas que son de Rosario deben poder ver la verdad entre tanta oscuridad, pero hay que pedirle al Espíritu Santo que se ilumine para poder ver la verdad completa. Que Donald Trump es parte del engaño y ¿por qué menciono esto tantas veces? Porque es importante, porque he visto canales católicos que sí están reconociendo de que esto puede ser un engaño de la falsa invasión alienígena, pero siguen del lado de Trump. Entonces no, el engaño es completo. Así que estén muy atentos, estén en mucha oración, no nos dejemos engañar por la élite.
At that time, and even for many years afterwards, I did not believe that the government would use me in that way. I had devoted my whole life to government service. I had been in the Air Force, I was in the Navy, I was a river patrol boat captain in Vietnam. I had proved myself. I had combat ribbons with the V for Valor. There was no doubt of my loyalty to my country. And maybe that's why it was so easy to use me, because I wouldn't doubt that what I saw was real. But over the years, I've done a lot of research. And what I've discovered is there's no proof existing anywhere that extraterrestrials are real, or that have ever visited this planet, or that they exist anywhere in the universe. There is not one shred of evidence anywhere. There is lots of evidence, tons of it in fact, that there are a group of people collectively known as the Illuminati who want us to believe in some extraterrestrial threat from space so that they can cause a world government, bringing together of all the people to resist that external threat. The first time that I saw any reference to that, I was reading some papers from the Carnegie Endowment Fund, and there was a record of a speech. It was a dinner for Viscount Ishii of the Japanese delegation, the Japanese imperial delegation, in 1917. And John Dewey was one of the speakers. And the first sentence out of his mouth, as I was reading this, I almost fell out of my chair, because this was in 1917, and he said the best way to cause all the people of the world to come together in one world government and end war forever would be if we were attacked by some other species from some other planet. And boy, that just clicked with me, and I knew that that this is just another scam. This is the age of deception. There's no doubt about it. And then 8 times during Reagan's administration, he inserted almost the exact same phrase into 8 of his speeches. And it's a scam. That's what I can tell you. What they call UFOs, these craft that fly around the sky, are real. But they're not piloted by some little green guy from some other planet. They're owned and operated by the United States of America for one, the Soviet Union for another, probably Great Britain, Canada. I think the first really operable ones were probably manufactured in Western Canada, in the wilderness, in a place especially built to create those machines, like we created the Manhattan Project. And the same kind of secrecy surrounded it. So the technology is real. It's been kept secret, and it's been used to promote this concept that there's an alien threat to this earth. The cattle mutilations I've discovered in my research are nothing more than what's left after the government does its secret tests on the low-level radiation leakage from its atomic weapons assembly plants and atomic power plants. It's a low-level radiation monitoring project. And if you look at what's missing in the cattle, you'll see that it's just as clear as day. They take the lips, they take the tongue, they take a 6-inch patch of skin, they core out the rectum, the colon area, where those kinds of things would collect. They pass through the digestive system. On female cows, they take the udder to check for low-level radiation in the milk. This is being passed to the calves. And these are all grazing animals that graze on the grass where the radiation falls when it falls from the air. And it's just an incredible deception. And I'm just amazed that people have fallen for it in the manner that they have in the absence of any proof whatsoever. I mean, they cite hearsay as proof.
Well, what about all of the alien abductions?
They're not abductions. They're the results of a tremendously successful and very sophisticated mind control operation, all of which has been in development. Well, they started working on those kinds of things since before World War II. But they have perfected them. On my website, I have a patent of a machine that can read your brain waves, can recombine them in a computer and send them back to you and make you think things happened that never happened. I mean, you can't get a patent for something like that unless it really works. You have to prove it to the patent office. It works. A patent is issued. And this is just one of the things that snuck by them that has because when people invent things like this, they're sucked up by the government immediately, and then they're put behind the veil of national security and classified, and then nobody knows about them. But every once in a while, something sneaks by them. And when you do these searches in the patent office, and in the trademark office, and in the copyright office, you come up with some real gems once in a while, and that was one. Also, the congressional investigations into the intelligence community has revealed the existence of these programs. I mean, there's no secret about it. It's documented. Project Artichoke, Project MK Ultra, MK Naomi. I could go on and on and on all day long. And if you had the time in your movie, we could lay out all the documentation, which is official government documentation, and prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that it's true. But that's what it is.
La palabra del Señor.